Well, hello and welcome to episode 70 of Drink the Movies. I am Brian here as always with Michaela. Michaela, we had a momentous night last night. Awards were given out, speeches were made, punches were thrown. What a night. What a night, Oscar night.
What a night, Oscar night. We knew it would come back with a bang. We knew that, right? Because last year was very subdued. It was very understated. This year came out swinging, literally. It was amazing.
quite literally. Another Oscars in the books. We were back kind of having the full-blown event. We had hosts, we had red carpets, we had things that were taped ahead of time. We had we had songs that weren't nominated being performed. What a night. What a time to be alive watching the Oscars.
We had a lot of weird aesthetic choices for people's clothing and makeup decisions, and very new things came to light. I learned more about double-sided tape, not only because of some of the thematic elements of the dress code, but also because we had our own red carpet that needed to be taped down. That was exciting.
We did. Yeah, absolutely. So for everyone listening at home, I get over to Michaela's house yesterday, and her husband is dutifully putting down this red carpet so we can have our very own red carpet entrance to Michaela's Oscar party bash, which was pretty amazing, I have to say. You can go apparently on Amazon and buy your own red carpet and have your own fancy events. And I think everyone should do that, really.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It wasn't expensive. Now, let me be clear. It does not look anything like the red carpet that we saw going into the Dolby Theater.
True. That was like a city block. That size of that red carpet.
It really was. It was huge. However, for like $16.50, you and 1 day of waiting, you can get 30 by 2.5 feet of red carpet. And I got a couple of them because I wanted to go up the stairs and all that. So we actually filmed our walking in, and we'll post that for anybody who wants to see those 25 seconds and never get them back. But it was really exciting. We don't really do a big deal at Oscars. I used to throw a big Oscar party, but I get so emotional and I drink so much that I decided to not have anybody but Brian over. So that it was great. It's been a tradition now for a couple of years.
Yeah, that's right. This was our third year of watching the Oscars together, and this is our second year of talking about them here on Drink the Movies. So we had our Oscar Pick'em prize package giveaway. So we had a lot of entries this year. We had about twice as many entries as we had last year, which is awesome. So love to see that. Love to, get everyone's picks and kind of see where everyone was, feeling about these movies this year. So that's really awesome. We had the winner had 20 correct picks, which blows us out of the water, but we're going to get to that here in a minute. And when I got there, I got on the red carpet. You hand me an Oscar martini, which is delicious. Listen to the Lobby Bar episode to find out how to make that. And then for the actual event, we're drinking something called the Picture Perfect Poloma. And it is picture perfect. It is beautiful. It is lovely. Has tequila in it. It's delicious. And this came from ABC News. And they put together this little article, and it had all of the cocktails they were making for the Governor's Ball. Michaela, what's the Governor's Ball?
Governor's Ball is the big after party that they throw after the Oscars, where they decide whether or not they're going to press charges and all of that stuff, apparently.
That's right.
Depending on who gets punched or how that goes down during the Oscars. So, yeah, that's what happens. And there's cocktails galore, but the one that we picked was indeed the Picture Perfect Poloma, and it is indeed quite beautiful, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, that's right. Now you broke into these a little early. You sent me a picture of one. Must have been your Oscar drink and your Oscar party prep drink too. So why don't you run through how to make this for everyone?
I sure will. All right. So you said it, sir. Tequila, right? We want Reposado tequila. What does Reposado mean in the land of tequila, Brian? What is for any of us that don't know?
So Reposado, you have kind of three main classifications of tequila. You have like silver or blanco, which is unaged. You have reposado, which is aged in an oak barrel, I think, for up to a year. And then anything 1 to 3 years is añejo, and then you have like extra añejo, which is like the even oldest. But yeah, Reposado is really good. It's perfect in margaritas and things because it has just a little bit more character, I think, than your silver tequila. So anything that's really kind of focused on the tequila itself, using a nice Reposado is good, and it's going to jazz up your margaritas, all that stuff. So I pretty much only ever get that. I don't very often get into the silver tequila unless something specifically calls for it. But.
Gotcha. Okay. So you're going to do 1 1/4 ounce of that bad boy. And then you're going to add a 1/2 ounce of fresh lime juice. Then you're going to add 2 ounces of fresh grapefruit juice. And then 1/2 ounce of simple syrup. Simple syrup, if anybody doesn't know, if this is the first time listening to this show, simple syrup is really simple to make. It is equal parts sugar and equal parts water. You can put it together on the stove, but if you're like me, I have learned how to do it in a microwave. So you just slow heat the water and until the sugar has completely melted in it, and then you can take it out and it'll keep in your fridge for like a couple of weeks. It's really easy to make. So you're going to need 1/2 ounce of that. And then, of course, keep some sparkling wine for the finishing touch. So this is how you're going to make this drink. You're going to add the tequila, the lime juice, the grapefruit juice, and the simple syrup to a shaker. You are going to add to that some muddled mint leaves. Okay. And it depends on how minty you want it. If you want it really minty, you can use up to 8. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So then you're going to add the mint leaves into the shaker as well. You're going to shake that bad boy up and then pour it into a glass. And then you're going to see that it's missing the sparkling wine. You're going to add the sparkling wine at the end. That's important because you don't want to do what I did the very first time I added sparkling wine into a shaker and shook that up. That's a mistake. Don't do that. It'll end up everywhere. Right. It'll be on your ceiling. Don't do that.
It absolutely will. It absolutely will. Yeah. So you just you top that off with the sparkling wine, the champagne, the cava, the prosecco, I guess, if you're going that route, and you have it and you enjoy it. And it was really delicious. I really like a Paloma because I like most things with grapefruit juice. I really like grapefruit. So this one was right up my alley. It was really lovely looking because it's kind of effervescent. It's kind of pinkish from that grapefruit, and it is quite lovely. And it was quite a lovely drink, and it paired perfectly with the Oscars, I think.
It sure did. It's very fancy. And you could make the base of it without the sparkling wine ahead of time, which is probably what we should have done. We did not think that far ahead, and we should have, because it's really good. So we wanted to have a second one and then maybe a third one. And so I should have probably put that on ice and made it in a batch. But you can totally learn from our mistakes there for your next Oscar party or whatever kind of summer party, because this is great. For the summer, it's very refreshing, and the weather is heating up. It is almost April, so there we go.
Yeah, so there you go. So, So why don't we take a quick break? We've got our cocktails made. I'm gonna also have some water because we had a couple of Picture Perfect Palomas last night. So why don't we take a quick break and we'll be right back, and we will talk all about the Oscars, about our picks, about what happened, about what we thought about the winners, and yeah, we'll be right back.
Spoiler warning for the Oscars. If you own a computer, I'm pretty sure you all have seen at least a part of what happened at the Oscars, which I'm sure we're going to talk about. But yeah, the biggest spoiler is we're going to talk about the winners of the Oscars. So if you're not interested in learning about the winners of the Oscars, stop now. Go drink some more Palomas and then come back when you're ready to talk about it. But the biggest thing is Coda!
Yeah, that's right. Coda was the big winner on the night, took the top prize for best film, which was really great. So, I mean, that was, I think, both of our favorite films from last year. And yeah, we were both very excited to see it. It was a joyous moment for sure. It got overshadowed by a less than joyous moment. But we're gonna get into all of that stuff. So yeah, like Michaela said, it's a spoiler warning for the Oscars. We're probably not going to get super in depth on these movies. If you want to get a little bit more about each of these individual films, you can go back. You can listen to our preview show where we kind of go through all of the nominees a little bit more thoroughly. But Michaela, the Oscars last night, we were back. They had a full theater, more or less. It looked like they had kind of these bigger, longer tables set up down in front for kind of the nominees and things like that. But yeah, it was nice seeing it back to mostly normal, I think. What did you think about the presentation? Let's kind of start with the pre-show there. So we had the red carpet extravaganza, if you will.
Yes.
How did you like that? How did you like the fashion this year? How did you like the pre-show hosts? What did you think?
So I have a lot of thoughts. So there's this new fashion thing, and I tried all morning today to look it up and see what the name is for this very deep V that goes into some of these, whether it's a crop top or a dress, but we have this big V and then this kind of weird demi bra thing that just covers the goodies if you got boobs. And there was a lot of that. And I mean, it was striking. There were probably like 5 or 6 different dresses or outfits that we saw that were like suits or, something that had that in it. And I'm not a fan because I don't look like a supermodel. So I don't think that would have worked for me necessarily, but I thought that was an interesting piece. We had some new commentators that we saw this year, which was kind of neat. It was kind of neat to see them spread the love a little bit. Usually it's kind of the same people over and over again. So I thought that was kind of neat. And it was a very different, I think one of the things that was most markedly different from this red carpet from the ones in previous years was that people came in at different times. It was much more staged. So you would talk to like Timothée Chalamet and you would talk about Dune and you talk to him, but there wouldn't be like a swarm of people behind him that were also waiting in line. So you were able to have much more conversational discussions with some of the actors and the presenters and the people that you were interviewing on the carpet. So that was kind of neat.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily love the pre-show. But it was kind of interesting. Like you said, it didn't seem as like strict and as laid out. It seemed much more kind of free flowing and bouncing around. All of kind of the hosts of the pre-show were all younger. So I guess it is, kind of skewing, trying to attract a little bit of a younger audience. So I kind of liked the format of it a little bit. It felt a little less formal, I guess, which was kind of one of the things that I liked about, the Oscars and stuff last year, just because of, the restrictions and things they had on it. They had to be a little bit more loose. It wasn't quite so uptight feeling all the time. And I thought that was pretty good. And then we get into the actual Oscars themselves, and we had our 3 hosts. You had Amy Schumer, Wanda Sykes, and Regina Hall doing the hosting duties. How did you like the 3-prong attack from these ladies? What did you think about their hosting and just kind of the layout of how the show went, I guess?
I thought it was okay. I was a little disappointed. I think Amy Schumer's pretty funny. I think Wanda Sykes is great. Regina Hall was fine. There were a couple moments where I think they totally missed the mark. Basically, where they sexual assault like a bunch of people up on stage by asking them to go in the back for a COVID test, for rapid COVID testing. I think they were trying to be funny. I didn't find it funny. It was clear to me that Jason Momoa didn't seem that he thought it was very funny. And it was just very strange. I just thought I thought that was just very ill placed. There was a lot of assaults in this entire show. And I guess it didn't start off well, because when you have a host that's kind of like, hey, this is funny, it's okay, I can just touch whoever. And I don't know. I just thought that was strange.
Yeah, that was a little strange. It was a little awkward, I think. But by and large, I thought that they did a good job. I kind of liked the format of it.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't really like guided. I didn't feel like they were like hosts as much as they would just periodically come out to kind of break up the show a little bit. Like they weren't, it wasn't like Billy Crystal just, leading this entire thing, right? So we'd have a couple of categories, and then kind of one of the three of them would come out and throw in some humor or some little bit or whatever, and then it would go. So I kind of liked the layout of it, and I thought that by and large they were fine. Yeah, like you said, there were a couple of awkward parts there from them, and then obviously let's just go ahead and talk about it. Chris Rock, Will Smith. Will Smith did not take kindly to what Chris Rock had said about his wife, and decided to go up on stage, throw a slap heard around the world. You've certainly seen about it by now. The problem it was a really it was a joke made in very bad taste. I think you shouldn't. Someone's medical condition is not something you should be joking about. And I think that joke would have been pretty forgettable. It wouldn't have been anything at all. And because of Will Smith's reaction to it, I think he comes out on the wrong side of it. He could have addressed it in his speech. He could have addressed it after the show. He could have addressed it in private, just with Chris at some point. And he would have come out looking the victor in this. But I think that his reaction and was it warranted or not? You could make the argument that it was, but I don't know. It, like I said, it's unfortunate then, and then this is what's overshadowing everything. It's taking attention away from the people that were there, that were nominated, that won, and that's the unfortunate part of it for me, I think. But what were your takeaways from it, I guess?
So there were so many layers of wrongness, right? So, Chris Rock is a comedian. He gets paid to say funny stuff. A lot of times the hosts and people that go on to, even if they're not really hosting, they're presenting, they make digs at people in the audience. I'm not a big fan of that kind of comedy. That's not my thing. I've never liked that. So there've been a couple of times, like when Ricky Gervais was the presenter, or when he was a host, I thought he was horrible because all he did was make fun of everybody, and it didn't matter. There was nothing sacred about what you looked like or what movies you were in or anything, right? So, and apparently this is not the first time Chris Rock has made fun of Will Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith. He's said things about her before. I have no idea. I mean, I do not know these people, so I don't know if he knew anything about her medical condition. I don't know if he was just making a comment because she was literally right in front of him and it came off the cuff. It was in poor taste. It's in poor taste when you're making fun of someone's looks. It doesn't really matter why. So and there was a way to address that. I was really disappointed to see Will Smith's reaction. I'm a huge fan of his. And this was his night to take home the Oscar, and everybody knew it. A lot of people were buzzing for him, and we picked him to win because we saw King Richard. King Richard was a great movie, and it told an amazing story about a really amazing family. And so there was a lot of light shining on a lot of different people around this moment that everyone foresaw as Will Smith's being the moment to shine. And I feel like he really ruined it for himself. And he ruined it for everybody else that could have shared in that honor, or that should have shared in that honor, by, being violent about it. And I don't blame him for being upset. I would have been really upset. Yeah, it's just a shame, because that's the thing that everybody's talking about today, instead of the fact that we have a couple of firsts, right? We have the first deaf male who's won, or hearing impaired male who has won for an honor in achievement in acting. We had a whole a cast of Coda that really shined a light on the hearing impaired community in a very different way than had ever been done before, winning Best Picture. We had a lot of firsts, right? And it's just completely been overshadowed because of this event that happened. And, I don't know. I was actually very surprised that Will Smith was allowed to stay and he wasn't escorted out. I feel like if somebody else went up to a host or a presenter in a theater and punched them because they didn't like the joke, that person would be thrown out, and it wouldn't matter that they were about to win an award. So I don't know what precedent that gives people to behave in that way. Will Smith, he's in a lot of movies. A lot of people look up to him. A lot of kids look up to him. This was not the way to behave. So there's wrong on both sides, no doubt. That's how I feel about it. I'm just very sad. I'm very sad about it. It's been a really hard, 15 hours, and I wasn't even in it, but I'm still very struck by it because it's just very sad for me.
Yeah, that was not what we were planning on covering in our Oscar recap show for sure. What we were looking forward to talking about were the Oscars themselves. So let's get into the categories. We'll just go through these. We're going to go in the same order that we made our picks in the last one. Like I said, we're not going to spend a lot of time dwelling on each of these movies and their merits. So we'll just go. We'll give what our picks were if we were correct or not, and whether we thought that was warranted or not. So let's get this started out. Michaela, what we got first there?
All right. Best visual effects. Well, we both got that right, thankfully. We both picked Dune, and we were correct. And I'm glad. Right. I'm so glad we were correct. I would have been really upset if Dune hadn't won for the visual effects.
Yeah, Dune basically made a clean sweep of the technical awards and visual effects. Yeah, very well earned. We both had this one picked correctly, and a lot of other people did too on our responses there on the Drink the Movies pick 'em. So yeah, Dune wins for best visual effects, and over Free Guy, No Time to Die, Shang-Chi, and Spider-Man. And moving right along here, this one you took, this one I missed. Best makeup and hairstyling. So we had Coming to America, Cruella, Dune, The Eyes of Tammy Faye, and House of Gucci. I picked House of Gucci, which was incorrect, but you picked The Eyes of Tammy Faye, which was the big winner here in the hair and makeup category.
It sure was. And that should have been a tip off, I think, to our best actress nominations, but we'll get into that in a minute. So I was glad to see that. I mean, I'm always glad to be right, but yeah.
Sure,
and I loved her acceptance speech. I thought it was very sweetly made.
Yeah. There you go.
Next one is best costume design, which we both got correct. It was between Cruella, Cyrano, Dune, Nightmare Alley, and West Side Story. And we all picked Cruella along with the rest of the Academy because that's who won. That was very exciting.
That's right. Yeah, Cruella was the big winner there. We basically made this pick like almost a year ago when Cruella came out. There was never any question in my mind that it was going to win. The other ones were all fine, but Cruella, yeah, it's a movie about a budding fashion designer making the craziest fashion that you can even possibly imagine. So of course it was going to win. And what about best sound? So we have Belfast, Dune, No Time to Die, The Power of the Dog, and West Side Story. Now, this was one we both picked different. You picked Belfast for sound. It was a good pick, but it was not the correct pick. The correct pick was Dune, which was what I picked. Like we said, Dune, basically made a clean sweep of these technical awards. And, thinking back to my time spent on Arrakis, on Dune, I think that they were very well deserved. Very well deserved.
I think so. Yeah. No, it totally makes sense, right? Hindsight being 2020, that Dune would get the credit it so richly deserves in the technical aspects because it created this whole world. And even though it was predicated upon a film that had been previously made, it really did its own justice so beautifully. So glad to see that it got the Oscar there. We also did not agree on best original score. If you'll recall, we had Don't Look Up, Dune, Encanto, Parallel Mothers, and The Power of the Dog. I had chosen Johnny Greenwood's Power of the Dog. You had chosen Encanto by Jermaine Franco, and we were both wrong because Dune's original score by Hans Zimmer took away the big gold guy.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Hans Zimmer presumably adds. I'm going to look that up real quick. Yeah, so Hans Zimmer adds to his Oscar collection. He also won way back in 1995 for doing the original score for The Lion King, which is pretty good. But Hans Zimmer's been nominated a bunch of times. Let's see, 11 times he's been nominated. I'm kind of surprised that he's only won 2 of those. But yeah, Hans Zimmer picks it up. I have to say that I still don't love the Dune soundtrack. I think probably The Power of the Dog or Encanto, I think still maybe would have been better picks for me. But you can't argue with Hans Zimmer. That soundscape was pretty incredible. So well deserved, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I agree. I really loved the score. It's in Power of the Dog, but that's okay. That's all right. I was not hating on Dune. It was so glad to see that it got the accolades that it did get, which leads us to our next one, Best Original Song. Okay. Right. This part, we're going to talk a little bit about these performances because they came out and performed them. Not every single one of them were performed, I don't think. But we also had one that was a song come out that was not performed or it was performed, but it was not nominated at all. That was really strange. But that being said, the nominations for Best Original Song were Be Alive from King Richard, Dos Oruguitas from Encanto, Down to Joy from Belfast, No Time to Die from No Time to Die, and then Somehow You Do from 4 Good Days.
Yeah, that's right. So we were both correct on this one. We both picked No Time to Die. I think that is the rightful good choice. But yeah, like you said, we had some weird stuff going on. So we had Beyonce performed Be Alive. It was like a pre-recorded music video kind of thing that she did, which I thought was kind of interesting. I was okay with doing it that way. If you can't be there to perform, if you could do something. We had the performance of Dos Oruguitas, which I thought was really good. I really liked the song. I really liked the performance of it. I think I liked this live performance of it better than I liked it in the film. And then very randomly, we had a performance of
We Don't Talk About
Bruno. Yeah. I don't know because they didn't do Down to Joy, Van Morrison. They didn't do that song, but they did the second one from Encanto for some reason. So
yeah, I don't know if maybe he couldn't. He was supposed to, and there was a schedule change, and then they had enough time to go ahead and since they had the whole cast there, they were like, "Let's do We Don't Talk About Bruno." They had a couple weeks to put it together, and that's what they did because it was. It was a smash hit. I mean, and I don't know if maybe Dos Oruguitas was what their original pick was, and then the movie came out and We Don't Talk About Bruno was such a smash hit that they regretted that, and so I don't understand it, but it took up a lot of time. And this is important because one of the things that was different this year that we have never seen before was that they took 8 or 7 of the categories of these 23 categories, and they had a award ceremony prior to the Oscars. It was like an hour before, but it was not televised. So what they did was they interspersed these winning moments and acceptance speeches into the Oscars that we saw, which I thought was interesting, but it was trying to keep it more compact and down to a, non 5-hour event. However, I would have much preferred to have seen the live reaction of some of these rather than seeing We Don't Talk About Bruno. I liked it. Hats off to the people who performed it, but I did not understand that choice at all.
Yeah, it was very strange. It was it was a good performance. So it was fine. Yeah, I guess I don't know. It felt like they were trying to fill time, but clearly they had already had too much time. So it was a weird decision. Decisions were made by lots of people about lots of things last night for sure, for sure. But yeah, No Time to Die wins. Billie Eilish, her performance of that song was beautiful. That song is beautiful. So hats off to her. Now she has a Grammy and an Oscar for that song there. So
Yeah.
let's get into the shorts here. So we've got the live action shorts where we both picked Alakachu, Take and Run. And that was nominated up against The Dress, The Long Goodbye, On My Mind, and Please Hold. The Long Goodbye, Riz Ahmed took the prize for live action shorts. And I think that was probably our other pick. That was kind of a toss up, I think, for both of us. And we picked wrong. The Academy said The Long Goodbye. Really important stuff. Really worth your time to watch. You can see it on Riz Ahmed's YouTube channel. I think it's on there. So go watch it. Go watch it.
Go watch it. Yeah, it was amazing. I really liked it. I remember when we talked about this last week. So I was glad to see that it won. For sure. Best short documentary was the nominees for best documentary short were Audible, Lead Me Home, The Queen of Basketball, 3 Songs for Benazir, and When We Were Bullies. And I think you and I both agreed on The Queen of Basketball. This is probably my least favorite grouping, right? We had issues with pretty much all of them except for The Queen of Basketball. And I was so glad to see that we were correct and that The Queen of Basketball won. I was very saddened to hear of the Queen's death, that she had passed before she was able to see this. But I was really excited that members of her family were able to be there and to watch her, the team kind of get this honor for her. So that was really cool.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, good that her family got to be there, and the world is lucky that we got to hear the story, directly from her through this documentary. So definitely go watch that. That's on YouTube as well. You can check that out. And you should definitely do. Like I said, all the documentary shorts were really good, kind of subjects. But as documentaries, I think that they all kind of missed the mark in the way that they told their story. And for me, I think that was the best one put together there, and rightfully winning the Oscar. And what about our last short category here is the animated short. So we had Affairs of the Art, Bestia, Box Ballet, Robin, and The Windshield Wiper. We only had one person say that The Windshield Wiper was going to win this prize out of everyone who took our poll, took me and you, your husband, everyone. Basically, everyone said that Robin was going to win, but Robin didn't win. The Windshield Wiper won. So there you go. Kudos to this tale of love in all of its various forms in The Windshield Wiper. It was pretty good. I did enjoy it, but I was surprised. I was surprised that it won. Very surprised
that it won. But that was not. That was interesting because all of us were like, what? Okay. And now I'm inspired to go rewatch it because I'd like to see kind of what I missed the first time, because I clearly missed something. What we did not miss and what to me was not a shocker was the next award, which was for Best Animated Feature. The nominations for that were Encanto, Flea, Luca, The Mitchells versus the Machines, and Raya and the Last Dragon. This was something both you and I agreed on. We both favored Mitchells versus the Machines. We both thought that was a stronger film and we liked that better. But I went ahead and picked Encanto to win because it's a Pixar film and I just figured it was going to win. And I was right, which made me actually sad.
You were right. Yeah, I went with Mitchells versus Machines, which is not the way the Academy went. The Academy went with Encanto, and I'm okay with that. I didn't. It wasn't to me like a night and day difference. Just personally, I felt the Mitchells versus Machines was a little bit better, but Encanto was so good. It was very culturally important. And it tells this really beautiful story. We talked about it on an episode as we kind of started getting into our Oscar films. That was one of the first ones that we covered there. So go back and give that a listen to it if you want us to deep dive on it a little bit more. But I think that was very important, and it did a really good job of telling this story that, kind of no matter what your, background and beliefs and all that stuff were, you could see yourself in that story. And I think that was something that was really special about Encanto. So yeah, no big surprise that Pixar took that. Yeah. When in doubt, go with Pixar.
That's right. Yeah. The next award surprised all of us, but was really, really beautiful to watch it happen and see it unfold on stage. It was Best Documentary Feature. So the nominations were Ascension, Attica, Flee, Summer of Soul, or When the Revolution Could Not Be Televised, and Writing with Fire. Now, these were much stronger. Because these were longer length. I think the subject matter was different, but the way in which all of these were put together, we agreed that Attica was our choices for winning, but we were wrong because Summer of Soul went ahead and took it home.
That's right. Yeah, Summer of Soul was the big winner here for the documentary feature, and it was a really important story, and I'm glad that it exists, and I'm glad that I got a chance to see it, and now a lot of other people are going to get to see it. I want to say that's on HBO or Disney. It's on something.
Disney. Yeah, it's on Disney Plus.
So definitely go watch it. It's really important stuff. You should probably, watch all these. Attica was our pick. Riding with Fire, we both really, really liked, and we were kind of deciding between those two up to the last minute. But yeah, Summer of Soul takes it. And like I said, it weaves a really compelling story, and it's incredible that, the footage still exists, that they were able to put that together. So good on you, Summer of Soul. And our next category here is something that really wasn't that much of a surprise, because you had the winner of the category was also nominated for best film. So it's kind of hard to not pick that one, but there were some good ones in this category. So best international feature film, we had Drive My Car, which won, of course, and that was nominated up against Flee from Denmark, The Hand of God from Italy, Lunana Yak in the Classroom from Bhutan, and The Worst Person in the World from Norway. The Worst Person in the World was a very excellent film, and I think probably in any other year that's going to win your international feature film. But Drive My Car, pretty special movie, and it takes the international feature film. We both picked that one, and I think most of the people that submitted their results also picked Drive My Car.
Yeah. I was glad to see that it got the accolades that it did. I was really not concerned, but I was worried that The Worst Person in the World was kind of taking things by storm, because it had a ton of buzz around it, and it was a great film. But for me, there's just it was no comparison. I definitely thought Drive My Car was stronger in a lot of different ways. So I was glad to see that it won. And then, of course, watching the acceptance speech was really beautiful. It's so nice when people are truly grateful and happy, and, giving, just really excited. One of the things they were kind of done back to back, but, when Summer of Soul won, it was one of the most, humble kind of acceptance speeches too, right? Where, the gentleman was so just overwhelmed, and he was just so happy that he got that award. And it's so nice to see. And it was very similar, I felt, with Drive My Car.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. It's always nice. We talked a little bit about it last week, but especially in the documentaries, so, are typically made from a place of, purely just out of a passion and your love of wanting to talk about a subject. So it's always nice when you get, an acceptance speech that, it really just kind of is, a shedding of the weight of just pouring yourself into something so fully. So yeah, so definitely a good win by Drive My Car there. And we're up to another couple of technical awards. Both of these were won by Dune, Michaela. Dune is just killing the these technical awards. So we had Best Production Design. It was nominated up against Nightmare Alley, Tragedy of Macbeth, West Side Story, and The Power of the Dog. And you said Dune was going to win, and you were correct.
I was correct. I'm a little sad because we talked about how amazing Tragedy of Macbeth was, and how the look and feel of it was just amazing. And so I know that's why you chose it, because it was so great. But I was glad to see that I was right. Dune also cleaned up for Best Film Editing, which we didn't actually see that coming at all. I was very surprised. Best Film Editing, the nominations for that were Don't Look Up, of course, Dune, King Richard, The Power of the Dog, and Tick, Tick, Boom. Dune went ahead and edited themselves a win out of that one.
It edited its way to a victory in film editing. I mean, that's fine. I'd picked The Power of the Dog, and you'd picked Tick, Tick, Boom in that category. I guess you could probably make a compelling argument for any of those, but and we've talked a little bit about it. We did an episode on Dune, so go listen to that if you want to hear more about that. But yeah, it's just really, I guess, to keep the pace, and that was the thing. All of these films were very long this year, so you really needed a deft-handed editing to get these stories told in a way that doesn't feel overly cumbersome. And Dune did an excellent job there, and it did an excellent job in cinematography. So Dune wins another Academy Award for this category. It was up against Nightmare Alley, Power of the Dog, Tragedy of Macbeth, and West Side Story. Power of the Dog was our picks. I'm really surprised that Power of the Dog did not win, that Dune won, but it looks great. It's pushing those IMAX screens to the limit. So
to the limit. Yep. Yeah, I was glad to see, like I said, I'm glad to see that it got so much love technically. But I was very surprised, because I thought for sure, because of just the big scope of work that needed to be done in Power of the Dog, that it would have edged out. But I was wrong.
I wonder if there is some negative side to that, as The Power of the Dog was a Netflix film. So people only ever got to watch that on their television or their laptop. So it wasn't something that they could go and see in the breadth of it, because The Power of the Dog on an IMAX screen would look unreal. it would be so vast. So maybe that played a part. Possible. I don't know. Maybe not.
Maybe. The next award went for Best Adapted Screenplay. Now, you and I did not agree on this. This was one of the few ones where we had differing opinions. The nominations were Coda, The Power of the Dog, Drive My Car, Dune, and The Lost Daughter. You had picked Dune, which now it seems like that probably should have gone, because it was a technical award, and this is kind of technical. I don't know. I picked Power of the Dog because, everything was going towards Power of the Dog 3 days ago. But we were both wrong. And I am happy that we were both wrong, because Coda took home the Best Adapted Screenplay Oscar.
That's right. And it definitely set the stage for its bigger victory later, I think, because how can it be the best movie? And especially in something that's such a personal tale, and something that's so kind of character focused. So it really makes sense that Coda picked this one up, hindsight being 2020. And I wasn't surprised by the next win, because I got this one right. And this was the year where Michaela beat me, and we haven't even talked about that yet, but I'm trying to keep that under the rug. But we had Best Original Screenplay, and the nominees were Belfast, Don't Look Up, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, and The Worst Person in the World. You said Don't Look Up as your Best Original Screenplay. I said Belfast by Kenneth Branagh. That was the big winner there.
Looking back on it, it totally deserves to win, because of the story that it's telling, and I have no defense. I just really liked Don't Look Up. I thought it was great. But you're right. This was one you did totally win. You totally beat me out on this one. The next one, we both agreed, which was Best Director. It was Kenneth Branagh, Ryusuke Hamagachi for Drive My Car, Sorry, Kenneth Branagh was for Belfast. I guess I should have said that. Just Kenneth Branagh. Just Kenneth Branagh is the best director. Paul Thomas Anderson in Licorice Pizza, Jane Campion in The Power of the Dog, and of course Steven Spielberg for West Side Story. We all agreed that it was going to be Jane Campion's year for Power of the Dog, and we were correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one was pretty clear cut. I think she was the presumptive favorite. Didn't really see it going another way. I think maybe in another year, I would have really liked to have seen Ryusaki Hamagachi for Drive My Car win that award, because I think what he did was really special. But yeah, there was no getting one over on Jane Campion this year for Power of the Dog when it comes to the best director. And now, Michaela, we are into our actors and actresses. So let's start off with one you got right. I'm so happy you got right. I changed my mind and I wanted to go with your pick after you made your stump speech for him last week when we were making our picks. But I'd already made mine, so I was locked in at that point. But best supporting actor, we had Jesse Plemons, Power of the Dog, J.K. Simmons, Being the Ricardos, Cody Smith-McPhee from The Power of the Dog, Troy Kotzer from Coda, and Ciarán Hinds from Belfast. Now, I had said that Cody Smith-McPhee was going to win, and I was incorrect, because who won, Michaela?
Troy Kotzer for Coda.
That's right. Troy Kotzer for Coda won. It was rightly awarded to him. I'm so happy that he won. It was amazing. That was probably the highlight of the night, was seeing him take that award.
Absolutely. Definitely. 100%. I cried like a baby. His acceptance speech was beautiful.
Fact can confirm.
Yeah, I did totally blubber like a baby. This is why nobody else comes. I don't have people over anymore. But it was amazing. He was so good. And what I loved the best, this was a great example, because J.K. Simmons and I think it was Ciarán Hinds, both of them immediately like jumped out of their chairs in joy to see when Troy Kotzer won. That, and these are all amazing actors, so maybe they didn't mean it at all, but that kind of showmanship I thought was great. It's right when everybody in the room, even the people that were kind of up against you, were cheering you on when you got it. So that was really beautiful to see.
Yeah, absolutely it was. And the woman who presented his award, I think is I hope I'm not going to say this too badly, but Yoon Yu-young, who won the Best Supporting Actress for Minari last year, gave him his award, and she actually signed that he won before she said it out loud, which was also pretty amazing and pretty special. And her win last year was amazing and special too. So it was awesome to see that she was the one to be able to give it to him. So really cool stuff there. So that was the Best Supporting Actor. What about Best Supporting Actress? So we had Jessie Buckley from The Lost Daughter, Ariana DeBose from West Side Story, Kirsten Dunst from The Power of the Dog, Anjanou Ellis from King Richard, and Judi Dench from Belfast. You and I both picked Ariana DeBose, and the Academy also picked Ariana DeBose, and she won. Well-deserved. Best part of West Side Story by a mile.
And I loved her speech. Again, she is a first, because I think she's the first openly queer person to accept an award for Best Supporting Actress. So that was wonderful. And I really loved how she tied it into, that there is a place for us. Every person on this planet, we can make this place together. I thought that was really beautiful. And Ariana was just stunning. I had no idea how, and I don't know how to say this, her transformation into the character was much different than I expected, because I didn't know anything about her until like a week ago when we started to really make our picks. So if you're on the fence about seeing West Side Story, you should watch it just for that. I thought it was so beautiful that Rita Moreno was there. Rita Moreno had just won, not just won, but maybe 65 years ago, she won for this exact same role. Really beautiful to see that circle.
Yeah, that would be, that is pretty cool. That would be something actually that would be interesting to look up to see if there are multiple Oscar wins for the same role. by people from different reimaginings. That would be interesting to look at. I couldn't imagine that there would be many, so it's kind of special. We got to see that, and going on Best Actor and Best Actress. So Michaela, why don't you run through these two?
So Best Actor was interesting because we both picked Will Smith, and we've talked enough about what's happened before that. But this was about 40 minutes later when he was able to get on the stage and claim his award. He was up against Denzel Washington for Tragedy of Macbeth, Javier Bardem for Being the Ricardos, Benedict Cumberbatch in The Power of the Dog, and Andrew Garfield with Tick, Tick, Boom. And he gave a very interesting, kind of bizarre speech trying to explain his, I don't know what, it was kind of strange. I usually love acceptance speeches. I found that one kind of odd.
I will say you could tell there was some remorse from his actions because it happened like literally like almost back to back, right? Like there wasn't even like any like cool down time from it. It
was about 40 minutes.
It went pretty quick, but yeah, I mean, no surprise there. Will Smith won. We both loved Andrew Garfield, but it's interesting because Best Actor on our Drink the Movies Oscar Pick'em, this was the most kind of wide open. So like 71% of the people that responded picked Will Smith to win. So I think it was pretty obviously his year. And then we're going into the Best Actress category, which was the most kind of spread out from the Drink the Movies results, where we had all of the actresses here being nominated, where everyone got some votes there. So it was kind of interesting. So we had Best Actress, we had the nominee of Jessica Chastain for The Eyes of Tammy Faye, Olivia Colman from Lost Daughter, Penelope Cruz from Parallel Mothers, Nicole Kidman from Being the Ricardos, and Kristen Stewart from Spencer. I said Kristen Stewart was going to win. You said Nicole Kidman was going to win, but Jessica Chastain wore her Tammy Faye makeup all the way to the podium and took her Oscar this year. Michaela, what do you think about Jessica Chastain winning this award?
Well, I love Jessica Chastain. I think she's done a lot of really great work. I really loved her character of Tammy Faye Baker, and I loved the story. I remember thinking all day yesterday that I was probably wrong, and it probably wasn't going to be Nicole Kidman because it was probably going to be Kristen Stewart. And right up until the Oscar started, I was like, man, this is the one where I'm going to get it wrong and you're going to get it right. And this is the one that's going to put you over the edge in the Michaela Bryan competition for Oscar Pick'em. But we were both wrong. It was a surprise to me, but I was happy for her. She's done a lot of really great work over the course of her career. And it did strike me how amazing the hair and makeup was, because I hadn't seen her in a while, and she looks nothing like Tammy Faye Baker in real life, like nothing like her. So definitely glad to see that she also that film took home the Oscar for hair and makeup, because
I think that kind of transcended her performance, because I thought her performance itself was I thought it was really good, but I didn't think that it was anything like that special. Like, of the 5 nominees, I probably would have ranked her like 4th, probably, for my picks. But yeah, I think it was a couple of things. Like you said, you had the big character transformation, and then you have just kind of the breadth of her work. So Jessica Chastain is the winner there, and that leaves us with one to go, Michaela. One to go.
Well, and I totally spoiled it at the beginning of this podcast. So if you waited till the end, sorry.
True story. Yeah, that's true.
But Best Picture, just so everyone knows what Coda was up against: Belfast, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, Dune, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, and West Side Story.
Yeah, that's right. So Coda is the big winner. You had picked The Power of the Dog to win, which was kind of the presumptive favorite going into like this final kind of weekend of Oscars, where Coda picked up a lot of steam. Coda was my pick. And I was just banking kind of on that momentum, that steam building up, because I think from the time The Power of the Dog came out, that was pretty much going to take it. So it was kind of a last minute push by Apple and Coda to get it in front of eyeballs and really pick up the conversation about it. And we talked about Troy Kotsur, how amazing he is. I really hope that this will encourage people that haven't watched this film yet to go see it, because it's really special, and everyone should go watch it. And I think the other highlight for me for seeing it was they always do the montage of all of the best pictures, and just seeing those scenes again from Coda was so good. I don't know why I haven't rewatched it yet since I watched it that first time, but I think it's on the to-do list now. I think it's on the to-do list.
You know what we really need to do is just pick a cocktail and cover it maybe next week on Drink the Movies.
Oh yeah, that is a really good idea. So be on the lookout. Be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for that. But Michaela, what do you have to add about Coda? Like I said, you'd picked The Power of the Dog because you were going with your head, and it was a smart pick, I think. Like I said, it already won like 10,000 awards for Best Picture. So what was going to be one more? But what were your thoughts about this year's films and Coda? And
I was so happy to be wrong about my Best Picture pick, because you're right. I absolutely picked my head and not my heart. Coda was by far my favorite film. It's going to be one of those that I'm going to watch over and over again just because it's so brilliant and great. And so I was really glad that I picked that one wrong. I think, when we talk about the Oscars, a lot of people don't watch them and don't give them a lot of credit because they are not necessarily great movies. They're great films. And we talked about this a little bit, right? Where, if something like, I don't know, a lot of people love Spider-Man, but Spider-Man, is it a great film or is it just a good film? What actually makes a film great? What makes it great? And how do you really create this award around that? And how do you choose that? And so that it's always hard because there's so many things that make these very different films special. But I was really glad that it seems like for once in a very long time, the Oscars got this portion of the awards correct, right? Where it really picked a film that was truly wonderful. And it's going to be one of those that 10 years from now, 20 years from now, we'll be able to say, yep, we still got that year right. Which is interesting because now if we look back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, because now it's been 20 years, we can go back and make the call like Shakespeare in Love versus Saving Private Ryan. Are you kidding, Oscar family? What the heck, right? We can make those calls. But at the time, I remember thinking that was amazing. So it's interesting. Yeah. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah. So like you, obviously, I was very excited that this one, took home this big prize, and like I said, I hope that it inspires people to go watch it. I believe that this was the first ever Best Picture for something that was just streaming, so that's pretty cool, and that is quite the feather in Apple's cap. They were the first ones to pull it off, and they're one of the newer ones to this arena. So good on you there. There were a couple of films this year that I thought really could have won it and it would have been fine. Aside from Coda and Power of the Dog, I think had if Drive My Car could have won, that would have been completely justified. I think Belfast was an early favorite for it. I wouldn't have been surprised if that would have won. It was excellent as well. So there were a couple. It's hard when you get to 10, especially kind of in the state of the world. Picking 10 films is tough to have them all at the same level. So there was definitely kind of a tail off for me on a couple of these, just somewhere heads and shoulders above the others. But yeah, by and large, I think it was a pretty good Oscars overall. None of the picks really were super egregious to me. I didn't think. I would have liked to see something like The Green Knight from A24 get a nod in something like cinematography, because that was just absolutely stunning. But it's hard to really get into snubs too much if you haven't seen these, because every time, if something's snubbed, then that means that something else wasn't deserving to be there. So I think by and large, these were all pretty good nominations, and all, pretty well deserved awards this year.
Yeah. Yeah. Nope, totally. I mean, I was pretty happy with the way it worked out, with the awards part of it anyway. And so that felt really good to see Coda do so well, and to see the number of accolades be given to Dune for all the technical gifts that it had and the things that it did that was amazing. I can't wait to see the next one. I definitely think, since it did so well, we're going to get greenlit on, the second half. And let's hope they don't make it into a trilogy, because that would be tough to. I don't want to wait that long. I want it all to be done. But
I want it all, and I want it all now.
But hopefully in the next couple of years we'll get to see the continuation of that story. So this was good. It's always kind of bittersweet at the end of Oscars, our Oscar season, because literally tonight, for the first time in, I don't know, 8 weeks, something like that, I will be like, I don't know what to watch. So, I get to start again, get to do it all over again next year.
Yeah, that's right. So now we have another year of Oscars down, another year of Oscars coming out. We are still early in the year, so not that much Oscar worthy has been coming out yet. Save the Batman, that's probably going to do pretty well next year. I think we'll have to wait and see, but yeah, that puts a pin in this year's Oscars. So the final tally for those keeping track at home, Brian, had 11 correct choices out of 23 categories, which is pretty good. That is respectable. Michaela, you had 12 correct choices, which is one more than me. So you are the Drink the Movies Oscar champion, at least as far as you and I go. But someone out there who went on to drinkthemovies.com and did the Oscar pick'em got 20 right, which is insane. I don't know how you could even do that, but congratulations. Keep an eye on your email, lucky winner, and we will get in touch with you so we can send out that prize package, and that will be awesome. But I guess, Michaela, you win the Oscar for the host pick. So give your acceptance speech, I guess. And then I don't want to hear another word about this for at least a year.
Oh, wait, what?
At 1 year.
Totally fair. That's totally
fair. It's totally fair.
Every time we talked about the Oscars, you'd be like, and I won twice in a row.
I know. We're not going to talk about the Oscars again for a year.
We're done. Oh, right. Okay. Well, I'd like to thank, I'd like to thank you, Brian, for watching all these movies with me and continuing to do this podcast together, because it is one of my favorite things in the world. And you do all the work. People ask me all the time. Can I just say, people ask me all the time, they're like, how's that going? And I'm like, oh, it's going amazing. And they're like, how do you do X, Y, Z on the site? And I'm like, oh no, that's a Brian question. You got to ask Brian, because Brian literally does everything. I show up, and I talk about movies that I see, and I make drinks with Brian, and I pick drinks, but that's about it. Brian does all the work on this, and I'm so grateful for that. So, and who else would I thank? Thank you. I don't know. Thanks everybody for continuing to listen to Drink the Movies and watch these movies with us and be part of this community. It was a dream many years ago to do a podcast about movies. And then, we mashed up alcohol and it became amazing. It became what it is today, and it's growing all the time. We're so excited about that. So yeah, there we go. Yeah. If you wanted any more Drink the Movies, if you haven't already subscribed, you can do that on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere where Anchor podcasts are distributed. I'm working this into my Oscar speech. How fun!
Oh, very nice. Very nice. I like it. Yeah, that's right. So
like us, subscribe. We have 2 drops a week. You got to get geared up for next season, because Oscar season will happen again. It'll be around the corner.
That's right. It'll be here before we know it. That's right. So thank you everyone for listening. Let us know if you make yourself a Picture Perfect Poloma, or let us know what you were drinking for your own Oscar party. If you watched the Oscars, what you thought about them, what you thought about the slap heard around the world, what you think about Coda winning Best Picture. Let us know all of that stuff. Send us pictures of your cocktails. And you can do that on our Instagram and Twitter. It's at Drink the Movies, and on Facebook.com/Drink the Movies. You can go check out the website, and we'll have pictures of ours, episode recaps, all that good stuff on www.drinkthemovies.com. And it would be really helpful if you are liking the podcast, if you left us a review. You can do that on Apple Podcasts. You can do that on Spotify now too. You can leave a star review there. So that would be really helpful. We would definitely appreciate that. And thank you so much for joining us for Oscars. It's one of our favorite seasons of the year, watching all of these movies. But now, Michaela, I need to go hydrate. I need to go take a nap.
Yeah.
And I need to watch something mindless or something, one of my favorite movies. Yeah.
Long.
Yeah. Something that's not 3 hours long. Yeah. Just something that will fill me with joy and happiness. And yeah, just detox from Oscar season.
I got a great one. It's called Voyage of the Rock Aliens, and it's awesome. It's definitely mindless.
It is mindless. That is for sure.
And it's only 87 minutes. So it ticks all the boxes, Brian. It ticks all of your boxes.
That's right. I will put it on for my nap. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us for this Oscar recap show. Be on the lookout next week. And yeah, we're probably going to talk about Coda and mix something up. But Michaela, I think we better go.
It's the moment's arrived. It's pumpkin time. All right. Well, we'll see everybody next time on
Drink the Movies. Good job, Coda.
Bad job, Will Smith.